So now that we know that, we can begin. I'm going to take just a few minutes to do attendance so our fearless scribe, Sunita, will know who's here. Carley. And say here. After
here. Sorry about that. I was on mute. Here.
Okay. Jing. I thought I saw you. I guess I didn't. Sunita.
Here.
Jamie.
Here.
Sophie.
Here.
Martha. Here. John.
Here.
Beverly.
Here.
Alexis.
Here.
Susan.
Here.
Okay. Neil.
Here.
Thank you. Ramona. Thank you. Wonderful. Now we're going to spend a few minutes for newcomers to introduce yourselves and a little snippet about what inspired you to join us today. So I'm just going to go across and I see Christina. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name's Christina Lent and I'm here representing the Vision Advisory Board.
Welcome, we're glad you're here. And let's see, Paul, you're back.
Like a bad penny, and I'm an occupational therapist. Coming close to retiring, but having a private practice, helping people age in place. And as I evolve in my career, I want to be involved in areas where I can make a difference and particularly help or facilitate transfer of knowledge so that people don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Wonderful, thank you, glad you're back. And Ramona.
Ramona Crocker. I'm here in the capacity of representing Viva Village, a nonprofit designed to assist seniors living in their own homes to stay in their own homes.
Wonderful, welcome. And Rebecca.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Rebecca Miller. I'm supervisor for Washington County Disability, Aging, and Veteran Services. I also happen to be a volunteer for Viva Villages and serve on the board of Ride Connection. So lots of older adult connections. And I'm here by invitation from Chair Harrington.
Wonderful. And Chase. There you are.
Got to double unmute myself. Technology. I'm here today from the city of Beaverton to talk with you about parking downtown. And I'm really excited to hear your thoughts, feedback, and your interactions with our downtown space.
Wonderful. So glad you're all here. And did I miss anybody? Carley, did I get everybody?
No, but I think Christina had at least one little announcement that she wanted to make during that period. So maybe if she has a chance to
feel
make
free.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to do the introductions first and then dive into it. So good afternoon and thank you for having me. My name is Christina Lent and I represent the Vision Advisory Committee, which is one of 17 boards and commissions with the city of Beaverton. And every 5 years, our committee works with the community to identify priorities that are most important. And this assists the city in determining where budget dollars are spent, what projects will move forward, and where staff and volunteer time might be invested. And today I'm here because it's time for the 2021 Community Vision. The city's current goals from the 2016 plan are, if you remember, build community, expand public services, create a vibrant downtown, improve mobility, and enhance livability. Now we want to know what's most important to you. So we're taking a snapshot of what different people in our community feel is important. And we really want to hear from all of you. So we invite you to take the Community Visioning Survey. I dropped a link in the survey in the chat. The link can also be found on the homepage of the city's website, as well as on the Vision Advisory Committee's webpage. And this is just a brief snapshot survey. And it's going to help us start planning Beaverton's future. We really want to know what issues are important to you. So we're asking you to rank whether something's really important or not important. And there's a whole bunch of different topics that you just tell us what it only takes a few minutes to do. And but it's really important. And we really want to know what issues are important to our senior community specifically. So in addition to taking the survey, we'd also love if you'd share this opportunity with people that you know, so people in your circles, and invite them to share their thoughts with us as well. The survey is the first step in a long process that's going to be happening this year, and we'll be reporting back to your committee with the next steps. But thank you so much for your time. And I'm also going to repost my contact information just in case you'd like to talk afterward or connect with me if you've got questions, or if there's groups that you think that we should reach out to. It sounds like Viva Village is definitely a place that we would love to do some outreach in, especially as we keep going with the process. And with that, if anyone has any questions and there's a couple of minutes, I'd be happy to answer them. Or like I said, you can always contact me. I'm going to leave my email and my phone number, and I'd love to chat with you.
Wonderful. And Christina, I think we'll move along and have people email you. And if we have time later on, we'll have people post questions. Thank you. We're glad you're here.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to get back to work. I took my lunch break late. I work for Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, so I'm going to get back to work there.
And
but if anyone wants to talk to me later on this evening, or this weekend. Oh, one thing you should know is that the survey will be open until the end of this month. So you have until September 30th to help us spread the word and take that survey for us. But thank you all so much, and thanks for volunteering and being part of the community.
Thank you. Okay, we're now going to review the August minutes. Any additions or changes that anybody has to them? Okay, so now we're going to take a vote on accepting. Do I hear a motion to accept our August minutes? I need to hear your voice.
I move acceptance.
Okay, so and now let's vote yes to accept, and just raise your hands. Okay. And minutes have been accepted and approved. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. So I'm going to skip down to introducing our first guest speaker. This is Kathyrn Harrington, who is the Washington County Chair, who I have known for quite a number of years, and she's here to inform us of what's going on and ask for our assistance in helping her serve our community in the best way that she knows how. So welcome, Kathyrn. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Martha. And thank you to all of the committee members. My being here today was really fortuitous. I was talking with Sunita one day, and she was asking me all kinds of really good questions about what county government does and how I serve the community. And she was sharing with me her activities in the community beyond serving on the Beaverton School Board, which I greatly appreciate, making sure that our young people have the opportunity of a great public school education and all of the challenges involved with all of that right now. So I appreciate having the opportunity to be here. Rebecca Miller has joined me today. She's the head of a great expert team for our aging and disabilities work here at Washington County, which is work that is standard work for each county, but then that work is customized for the nature of each of the populations of our community. And we have a great community here in Washington County. Of course we do. You live here. I've lived here in Washington County for 31 years, and I'm one of those aging in place people that Philip mentioned. So as I have been through 3 decades here in Washington County, I'm hoping to have at least 2, hopefully 3 more myself. So we'll see how that goes. But I've also lived here as a community member, helping my in-laws succeed in our community, and as a customer, a household customer in that regard, through Washington County services for veterans as well as for older adults. How many of you have had the benefit of engaging with Rebecca and members of her team, such as Kira? I think they've been here before. Excellent.
I want to say thank you too. And I was, my audiologists have been telling me for over a decade to go get checked out for my hearing loss. And thanks to the veteran rep for the Washington County Aging and Disability and Veteran Services, now I'm officially a disabled veteran, and I'm very grateful. Also have benefited from some of the resource lists. So I'm very thankful.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Paul. Excuse me, are there any other examples that any of you would like to share that you're glad have been there or you wished would be there for you? Anything that comes to mind? Well, I tell you, something that I know we have underway is a web redesign. And we have just copious amounts of information on the Washington County website. When I was going door to door back in late 2017 and all through the first half of, well, no, all through most of 2018, in order to earn your vote to serve you as County Commission Chair, I heard from a few different seniors in our community who tried to find services through the Washington County website. And I heard directly from them. I didn't raise it, but I had the benefit of really good feedback from them about how important it is to make our website easier to use. So I will say that as part of my preparing today, one of the things I did was I went to our Washington County website and searched older adults just to see what would happen and what kind of information might be available. And I had different examples in my mind, both from past experience as well as I look ahead in my bright, shiny year of age of 61 and try to figure out what I'm going to need in my years ahead. And I had the benefit of, finding different pieces of information. But what I really want to focus on today with you, and this is an open discussion, is recognizing where we are in this moment of time. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying healthy during these times of a global pandemic and for supporting one another, your families, and your neighbors all throughout our community. You've endured a really hard time. None of us asked for a global pandemic, but I know, as I live in the city of Beaverton myself, and I know that you've all pulled together and tried to ensure that there is information and resources for others right here in our community. As we were chatting, Carley and Martha and I, just as we were all starting to assemble, I mentioned that the kinds of things I would have talked about had we been gathering a month or two ago are different than what are on my mind now. So I just would like to share a few things with you now and then open it up for your conversation. One is recognizing where we are now. Here we are in September. We're still, as a community, trying to find our way through this Delta surge that we have right now with the Delta variant. So thank you for wearing masks of all kinds of colors and sizes, and making sure that you stay mentally active and socially active. I know that there are periods of time that I have tried to practice what public health has asked, and I've really kept my circle small. And it's been hard. And so I really thank you for all of the efforts you're making to take care of yourselves and to connect with others, whether it's in person, even at a distance, by phone or by Zoom. How many of you are wondering about booster shots at this point? Have you received any information that helps you or gives you some good guidance on getting booster shots? No. Ooh, well, let me do a share screen real quick for you. And also, I should make sure that, whoops, now I can't find which window it is. Well, golly day. I can, how come I can't share that PDF file screen? That's not good. I'm perplexed. Let me try this again. I don't know.
It should be a green color.
Oh, there it
rectangle with
is.
a arrow up.
I finally found the right window.
Good.
Ah,
So there's a document that OHA has for us about additional doses of the vaccine. And right now, what they're recommending is that people who are immunocompromised whew,
Yep.
should be getting the boosters. I'm more than happy to send this document around. Should I send it to you, Carley?
Yeah, if you pass it along to me, I'll make sure that
Okay.
the board gets it.
Great. I have found that these frequently asked question documents, and this one is from August 16th from OHA, are really helpful. Science has been advancing throughout this whole pandemic. And so we've been learning a lot together. And the CDC is really the best expert agency that we can lean on with certified information. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. She shared the pointer directly with you in the chat. That'll take you right to that FAQ. And if you have any questions that you're challenged to find answers to with regard to this COVID pandemic, don't hesitate to send your questions in. On our Washington County website, we have a whole section just on COVID-19. And between, especially with OHA, they host Facebook times for people to ask questions on all kinds of different topics. I've subscribed to their daily email that where every late afternoon, early evening, they publish new information that has different tips and tricks for what we might do from season to season, month to month. So I have found that really helpful. So I wanted to make sure that you had access to information. Right now, we don't all need to get boosters. So that's something to be mindful of. And of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask your doctor. But I also wanted to really encourage you. I can't encourage this enough. So even though I've touched on it, I want to make sure that I encourage all of us as individuals as well as a group to keep staying active and social. I'm so glad you get together and share tips and tricks. and how we as a community, both as the city of Beaverton as well as the county, can help one another. So here we are in September. It's the middle of September. Sunflowers are on people's minds. Our evenings and our mornings are getting crisper. And before we know it, it will be fall. And we're expected to have rain this weekend. Boy, won't that be a pleasant experience. But that means we also need to make sure that we've prepared our downspouts and other weather expected needs, because they're saying it's going to be full on rain, not showers. So let's be prepared. And lastly, I want to look ahead. Before we know it, it'll be Halloween, then Thanksgiving, then December holidays, and into a new year. One of the things I really love about Beaverton is that there are committees like this. And Washington County, led by Rebecca, we also have various committees that help with our service offering for older adults as well as for veterans. And we're always looking for folks who are interested in contributing their expertise. But also, as you well know, you can draw on Rebecca and her team to come in and talk to you about new programs or evolving programs that suit our needs. I was really glad to see Christina Lint come in about the new community visioning plan. As an elected official, I've really valued, and before I was your county commission chair starting in 2019, I was an elected Metro councilor at Metro, your regional government. And so I had to get to know all 24 cities in our 3-county urban area. But I'm really, really proud of the city of Beaverton and the different committees and programs that you all support. It's a place that I hope to continue aging in myself. So just like the city is interested in knowing how can we be a better community for all ages and all abilities, so are we in Washington County as a whole, as we do our part in running general government, things like elections and making sure that all the appropriate taxing districts get their property taxes mindfully, but also in the social service area for people of all ages and abilities, people who have needs for, addiction and mental health services, making sure that people's basic needs are covered. And I've certainly learned a lot about public health as a county responsibility over the last 2 years. But we also take care of other things like county roads and making sure that in the unincorporated areas that planning and development gets taken care of. But we also have a huge portfolio with public safety and running the courts and community corrections and things like that. And no matter where in the portfolio you're talking about for those services, we need to make sure that we are welcoming and accessible for ages all across the board. So I'll just leave that as a highlight for what we're working on right now. Next year in 2022, we're going to be kicking off a community strategic planning effort. It will be a multi-planning effort. So I'm going to be interested in seeing what thoughts you may have for us before we shape that program to make sure that we tap into groups such as yourselves, but also older adults all across our community to make sure that we're meeting everyone's needs. So I probably used up all of my time talking right at you. Ooh, my bad.
No, we have time for questions or comments.
Can I say a couple things about COVID? And can I share my screen with everybody?
John, I don't want to take up time with more sharing information. Let's focus on some questions for now. And then
especially on Beaverton and Kathyrn.
Sunita, is there anything you wished I had covered?
You're on mute, Sunita.
No, I think you did good. Anybody else may have any questions? I talked to you for a long time, so you answered all my questions. But if anybody wants to find out more about what the Washington County does for the older adults, maybe, I don't know if anybody has any questions about that. Washington County has come to rescue for me, like anytime I have any questions, I get my answers very quickly. Rebecca's team is great. I think she actually helped me, one of my coworkers who lived in Clackamas County. He was looking after a 90-year-old mom, and he got the answers from her. So I'm pleased with what Washington County is doing. So
any questions around transportation, sidewalks?
Oh, now that is an area where I had the opportunity to work with Rebecca recently. We had a new transit plan that we needed to put together here in Washington County, and Rebecca's team had been working on some new community surveys, and so it fed in very seamlessly. So she and her team are doing a very good job of advocating to make sure that all of the transit providers here in Washington County have better access for information for everyone. Yes, we do need to have paper schedules. Yes, we do need to have phone lines. Yes, we do need to have information accessible by computers, tablets, phones, however people need them. So I'm a big fan of Rebecca and her team.
Kathyrn, I have a question about the increase in rates for both water and garbage. Would you know anything about either of those items?
So a little bit. For within the cities take care of garbage franchising. We're responsible for the franchising in the urban unincorporated areas. And just recently we approved a increase that will cost each household about $20 a year more in their garbage service as the whole service suite that the garbage haulers have to use for collecting our materials and then making sure they get sent off to proper recycling or landfill agencies gets handled properly. This is in light of the fact that during most of COVID until 2021, all of the communities and utilities were all working hard to hold all fees and utilities static. And we all postponed fee increases across the board for a year, and in some cases, almost 2 years. That's on garbage, but also we're the board for clean water services, our stormwater and regional sewerage agency. So when I flush a toilet at my home in Beaverton, it goes into the regional system, then to the sewage treatment plants run by Clean Water Services. And when I'm here in the Hillsborough, Washington County building, I flush a toilet, it goes through the Hillsborough pipes to the regional system and to the sewage treatment plants. All those sewage treatment plants and those regional collection pipes all throughout the county are handled by Clean Water Services. So we held our rates at the same level as well and used reserves to cover things and also postponed additional fee increases. But it looks like in next year and moving ahead, we're going to have to step those up lightly. And mostly in the city of Beaverton has fewer and fewer water customers that are in the Tualatin Water District, TVWD, Tualatin Valley Water District, I mean. So as TVWD and the city of Hillsborough have higher and higher percentage increases with the Willamette Water Project, the city of Beaverton residents like me are pretty much buffered from that because the city of Beaverton draws more of its water from other sources. So that's probably more detail than you were looking for, but that's what I know of water, sewer, and garbage utility fees.
In other words, we can anticipate almost yearly increases in water and garbage rates in the future then.
Well, I think what we all have to cover are costs of living increases, inflationary cost increases as well. But we try to make sure that we have sound justification for those. Nobody's making any profit at this, that's for sure. But in various utilities, some utilities are based on usage. So for example, in my household, we have the smallest can possible for garbage because there's only 2 of us. And then we no longer have the same size yard as we used to, so we don't use as much water as we used to when we had a lot of landscaping to take care of as well.
Thank you.
Kathyrn, very much.
You've been very generous with your time. If there is other information that you wish that I had covered, you can certainly reach me at chair@co.washington.or.us. Or our website is www.co.washington.or.us. And in future years, we do have a new domain name that has been approved, much shorter. So it'll be even that much easier to find your Board of Commissioners. But you can also send information to the full board using BCC for Board of County Commissioners. And you don't have to remember that. You can find that right on our website as well.
Thank you so much, Kathyrn. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And please know, you can always send me other questions and I'm happy to follow up anytime.
And now Rebecca is going to just add a few updates for seniors and through Dave's program. So Rebecca, take it away.
Great. Thanks again. Thanks, Chair Harrington, for the invite too, and Sunita, appreciate it. So I just wanted to give a couple of high level things that I find are really important for the community to know. And one of the biggest areas of confusion is, so we're Disability, Aging, and Veteran Services. We are all about providing services in the community to help people age in place, as opposed to we have a memorandum of understanding with aging and people with disabilities, a very similar name and right next door to us in Hillsborough, but they are the state office and they provide Medicaid services. So they're long-term services and support. So think adult foster homes, adult protective services, all your facility-based care. That's the state. We're the county, and we provide Older Americans Act services. So think your home delivered meals, congregate meals, options counseling for what are my long-term care options. We help people identify their Medicare, what's a great Medicare plan for them. We do evidence-based health promotion and just general information and referral. So that's the primary difference. Likewise, on the veterans side, there's the Veterans Administration, who's the provider of like the medical care and all the benefits that a veteran might be entitled to or their family. We are the connector and the advocate for veterans for those benefits. So we'll actually help file a claim, like Paul was discussing, file a claim and chase it on through all the way to end to completion. If it gets denied, we can file appeals when it's appropriate and all that. So we're really we're the area agency on aging, serving the entire Washington County, including unincorporated Washington County and all the cities within it, including Beaverton. So that's what we do. We're here to really be a coordinating a leverage point. We don't have limitless funding. We're really about leveraging and building on the strengths of community partners, resources like this, like Viva Villages, like just all the different partners that you might run into. And you're probably familiar with Kara Magrill. She's probably the person you've worked with the most. So she's on my team. She's amazing. And I think you've been working on Age Cafe together, and I've heard a lot about that and the mental health resources. So the other thing that I want to just point out that you might want to know about is I had to jump off early to be on a board meeting to welcome to ask for new appointments to our advisory council, but the results of the older LGBTQ members survey, the first statewide survey we've ever done, those results are coming out soon, or they are. I think they're probably published today because they presented. So I will make sure you all get that so you can check out what are the needs of older adults that identify LGBTQ in the community. So that's update. We have our Family Caregiver Support Conference coming up. It's going to be done virtually, of course, and in different languages and in multiple locations and over multiple days. So I will make sure you have the link to our website so you can get that information. I'll also make sure you get information about our advisory newsletter. It's called The Advisory. Do you receive that right now? The Advisory, it's called, just came out last week or earlier this week. Okay, I'll make sure you get that. And then there's a way for you to subscribe to it. It's sent every 2 months. And it's everything. Like there's a lot of great information in there, and it comes out 6 times a year. So, and then the best way to contact us is through the Aging and Disability Resource Connect, the ADRC. Again, I'll put this all in an email and send it to you so you don't have to try and remember everything I'm saying, if that works for you. So the ADRC, we have trained specialists. They have a stocked database of all the local resources. So if you or a family member of someone who's an older adult is looking for a resource, they can call us and we'll help talk you through that and get you connected to the right place. So with that, I'll take any other questions that remain, but happy to come back sometime or send a staff member with more details on any one of our programs. So thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any questions for Rebecca? I really learned the difference between Dave's and the state, and I thought they were one and the same. So thank you so much.
Can I ask a question to Rebecca? You said that your department helps older adults to age in their own homes. Can you give an example of a service that you would provide to an older adult for that?
Sure, a variety. Most of our programs are aimed at that. So Family Caregiver Support Program, so we can provide respite. So for that, so say there's a married couple or a couple living in a home together, and the spouse or whoever is providing a lot of support, but they need a little extra. We can help provide that little extra to help make that possible. We can help with meals, home delivered meals. We can provide some home modification. We have a referral program where we actually refer out to Rebuilding Together. We do Oregon Project Independence, which is for people that are not Medicaid eligible, but still need in-home support. So we're in-home caregiving, light housekeeping. A lot of times people just need a little extra. It's just that little bit more they need in order to make it all work together. I think it's been really challenging with the pandemic because a lot of the natural supports people in the community rely on have been disrupted because they can't have their neighbor come over like they once did, and their family members are unable to travel, or they're sick, or for any number of those reasons. So it's particularly challenging. So those sorts of things, just that little extra.
Age requirement for that?
We serve people 60 plus under the Older Americans Act. For our veterans services, all ages, of course. And then for Oregon Project Independence, there's a program for people age 18 to 59 with physical disabilities, and then 60 plus.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and all the services can be connected through our Aging and Disability Resource Connect. So anything I talked about, you can get through there.
Thanks.
Great. Thank
You
you
bet.
so much. Well done. Yes, Paul?
What was the resource that you said comes out every other month of sorts? It's like a newsletter?
It is a newsletter. It's called The Advisory. It's just our publication. So
And how do you get,
I'll go ahead and put a bunch of stuff in the chat for you when I'm done and as your meeting continues. If that's not too disruptive, would that be okay? Or should I send it right to you, Carly or Martha?
Why don't you send it to Carly and then we
Okay.
can send it out.
It's easier since I don't think you can copy and paste out of the chat. So thank you.
Okay, I'll just put the ADRC phone number because that's the most basic one and then send you all the rest.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your
so
time.
much. Really appreciate it. Wow. Lots of learning going on and lots of support. I know we had to call Adult Protective Services on a neighbor friend of ours, and they were fabulous. So these agencies are here to help us, and it's all confidential. So you can call and ask questions and get the help you need. Wonderful. So we're going to move along to Chase. And there you are. So welcome.
Hi, everyone.
We're
Thank you. For
open all
having me.
ears.
All right. I'll just start with a little background. Who I am, I'm Chase Landry. I work for the city of Beaverton down in the Community Development Department. And I am, like I mentioned earlier, here to talk to you about parking downtown. A little bit just to cover what I want to go over. I want to tell you about the Downtown Parking Management and Action Plan. It's a real mouthful. You might hear people call it DP map. We don't like to call it DP map, but if I slip up, that's what I'm talking about. I just want to go over a little bit of the background of the project, description, some of the engagement we've done already and what we've heard, and then I want the majority of the time to hear from you about a couple of topics related to parking. So without further ado, I don't need to tell all of you that downtown Beaverton is changing. And so as a part of that, we really thought it was high time, or at least definitely ready now, to talk about a holistic approach to what we're looking at with parking downtown. We need to look at, in the core, all the complex and interconnected issues. And so we've brought on a really great consultant that does this kind of work across the country and in similar cities like Beaverton too. You know, that suburban context can definitely be different than you would have, say, in downtown LA. So they've come in and they're helping us. They're named Dixon Consulting. And so when I refer to the contractor on this, or the consultant, that's who I'll be talking about. What the Downtown Parking Management Action Plan aims to do is to bring forward a plan that is actually procedurally making changes. So not a plan that right away we make all these changes, and also not a plan that just sits on the shelf, but one that basically has milestones that say, we've reached this level of parking occupancy, we've reached this point of usage, or we see this number of parkers who use ADA certificates, to then say, okay, we need to make this next step forward in the changing of how we handle parking downtown. So our project is guided by 4 principles. It's supposed to be sustainable, equitable, adaptable, and positive. And that last one is really just about trying to make a positive experience. This is grounded not in cars, but in people and their experience downtown, however you get to downtown, and talking about that human focus rather than just the technical aspect. I already mentioned a little bit about what makes it different, but I just wanted to share with you, when I talk about downtown, I'm going to share my screen just briefly with a picture of the scope of what we're talking about when we say that, because we acknowledge that people have many different definitions of the downtown area. So if you can see that there, I'll zoom in a little bit. We're looking north at the top. Cedar Hills over on the right side, Beaverton Creek, the Old Town area down there at the bottom. Before I move on, any kind of questions about the area I'm talking about? I can only see some of the screen now, so if you have them, let me know.
It's a little bit blurry to see the street names, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
Can you just say what that dividing street is between the Creekside and Old Town?
Yeah, that's Canyon Road. And so the
Canyon?
split of the streets there that we're seeing, yep, is Canyon and Farmington. Thank you for letting me share that. Okay, so that's the area we're looking at. We're looking at solutions and different things to improve parking, but we can't talk about improving parking before we know what the situation actually is, what people's experience is, what the data looks like. So we've been doing a lot of engagement so far over this summer, and it's been great for me at least to be able to get back out in the community and talk about these things. We put out a survey and we got over 1,100 responses on that survey. People are passionate about parking, and it went out to residents, business owners, employees, visitors, everyone. And our team actually put together, I think, a pretty good survey. It had 79 questions. But depending on what you choose, it was a smart survey that brought that down to about 5 to 7 questions based on if you were a business owner, an employee, or visitor. And so we have a little bit of data back from that already. We also are trying to work better on bundling some of our surveys when appropriate. We don't like just coming out to you all about one-off topics, but really want to try to approach it as you're interested in parking. You're probably also interested in the parking spaces that were changed to outdoor dining. So we had some questions there about that to get feedback from folks. We also went out to the farmers markets, walked around the businesses. We're at the dining commons downtown on First Street. We met with several folks with different disabilities and about their experience navigating downtown. And then one of my favorites too is we partnered with THPRD and we went to their Frozen in the Park event where they had Elsa and some of the characters from the Disney movies out there to meet with children, talk about their new parks, but also we wanted to talk about parking in parks, what that situation looks like. So we heard a lot back. A lot of folks talked about ADA and on streets. Vast majority of our streets in Beaverton do not have dedicated ADA parking spaces on the street. So that was a big thing that was raised up in the conversation. A lot of folks wanted to talk about paid parking and where we were at with our thinking on that. People wanted to talk about the distance and safety about parking. You know, if you have to walk farther, are the sidewalks built up right? A lot of businesses were really interested, of course, about their clients getting there, but also their employees. And so how we navigate and balance all that. And then there was a lot of conversation about the new parking garage that's going in on the north side of downtown by the Round and that area there, by Beaverton Creek and the new Art Center. And a lot of conversation about the fact that because of Canyon and Farmington, like you saw on that map, and it's not really reasonable to expect folks to park there and come into the Old Town area. So our consultants and I really looked at that with a lot of our parking engineers and transportation engineers. And you all are the first to hear a little bit of the draft recommendations that they're bringing forward. So they're really looking at consolidating parking. So trying to have clear, visible parking in specific places and not as many of the spread out surface lots. So what we can do to encourage that you know, when you go downtown, you can find parking here. We're talking about prioritizing convenient on-street parking for ADA access, more wayfinding, more of that data-driven policy that I was talking about. So for example, targeting 85% capacity rate or occupancy rate, and really looking at, okay, if we've reached that occupancy of parking, then what do we do to maybe make more parking, change our plans and do that, and let that inform a little bit of our changes rather than just making all the changes right away. Considering a shuttle program to help people access destinations faster. walkability improvements, and then also talking about time limits. And when it comes to paid parking, we're not really, or at least the consultants aren't really recommending that we jump to that right now with our on-street. They're saying we're probably okay with the time limits from what we hear, but then have a number where if it gets too packed in, then we need to start talking about paid parking, doing a separate engagement program, and talk about the equity access related to that. So I also want to acknowledge, we sent out an email a little bit before just talking a bit about this program to you all, and we got some feedback from one of your members. So they were saying that having more available parking and for longer periods of time, like 3-4 hours, making it relatively inexpensive. Accessibility and cost are very important. We'll get back to that later. And also safer ways to cross the street, especially at Hall and Canyon. So thank you for your feedback and sending that email to us. So all of that is my rambling. You mentioned in your feedback already that accessibility is very important. So what I wanted to jump to first is, what does accessibility mean to you in relations to parking? And do you have any examples of this done well or poorly? And I open it up to you.
Ramona.
I would like to inquire about what plans are underway to improve accessibility for the Beaverton Main Library on Saturday mornings. As it is, and as it has been for about the last 10 or 15 years, library patrons do not have parking to go to the library due to the farmers market. Are there any plans to address this issue?
I'm really glad you brought that up, Ramona. Thank you. It's something that actually came up a lot while we were at the farmers market on Saturday morning. And we also struggle with the fact that we have a lot of open parking there the rest of the week. But because of the farmers market, people don't know or think of that as available public parking. So there definitely needs to be something addressed with that. And it's one of the big topics we're looking at. It needs to be a fuller conversation though, with those partners like the farmers market, with the library. I was planning on talking to the library board later this month, but that got moved due to schedule, but it's top of the mind for us, truly.
Any other questions for Lance?
I've got a question. This is John. And it has to do with getting across Canyon as a pedestrian. Has any thought been given to having a pedestrian overpass over Canyon? I say this because it could be in the planning if funds become available later on to make the old town more accessible.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely something that has come up a lot, more with the Loop project, if you've heard about them. They're the folks looking at Hall and Watson down to Fifth and that navigation. I know it is currently not within the scope of their project, nor is it unfortunately in the scope of ours related to parking, but it's been a refrain that people are bringing up. And so I'd encourage you to keep talking with electeds and folks as you hear about that, to make that a priority.
Yeah, Kathyrn.
Thank you. To your question about examples of parking, particularly for ADA parking, I don't remember the exact resource right now, but while I was a Metro councilor, I had the opportunity to attend a forum on better aging in our communities that AARP put on. And so then I hooked up with their communities, Better Communities program. And they had just a plethora of examples collected all across the nation on different topics. So there might be some ideas there for examples of doing it well that might fit different areas of that very large downtown map that you have that you might tap into.
Thank you. I'll definitely look into that. I really appreciate that.
You bet. And I'm going to need to run. So at the same time, I'll say
Thank
goodbye.
you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you, thank
having
you.
me. Keep up the great work, everyone.
You too. Okay, Bev, last question, Bev.
I have a question regarding the parking downtown and specifically for the farmers market. We have a number of private businesses around the area. Is there any reason that we could not negotiate with them to at least give up half of their parking spots? I find it almost offensive, and especially with the one bank that restricts you cannot park there. They aren't using all those spaces. Couldn't some of those businesses around there give up half of the spaces? They need to keep some, and I understand that, but they are not community contributors when they restrict parking for something as important to this community as our farmers market. It's well attended, we love it, and they should be contributing.
You know, that is something that before this project, I hadn't considered much, you know, going downtown. After doing the walkarounds, even with the businesses and talking with them, that's another topic that has come up a lot. Before this, the prime way that we reach out to those businesses was through a program with the Beaverton Downtown Association that worked to share off-hours parking. There's a few parking lots, I think Lucidum and some others do that. But the time and time again, we'd encounter the same issue, liability. Folks were really concerned about what the liability looked like if someone gets in an accident, trips, falls, anything happens on their property, especially while they're not there. However, I mentioned those great consultants we're working with. They have sort of a template that they've done in other cities that works around some of that language and creates really strong agreements. And part of that might be even allowing them to charge a little bit for that site or whatever they want to do. There's one location that's doing that now downtown. But coming up with some sort of agreement, boilerplate that can work for both parties, the city, so we can make it publicly available, and the businesses or the owners of that property, is something that's definitely in our consultants' wheelhouse and that they'll be bringing forward as a part of this process.
Yay, good idea. Thank you, Chase, for being here with us and informing us on all the complexities and breadth of parking in downtown Beaverton. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'll share our parking email and chat. I encourage you to check out our parking webpage. And if you send me an email, I can sign you up so that you see our full recommendations, get our next survey when that comes out, and we'll get you on that list so that you're communicated and engaged with more.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day. Okay, wow, lots of information. We've all been, I mean, I feel like my cup is very full. We're going to move into doing some subcommittee updates, so we just get on board with what everybody is doing. So we're going to start with the Celebrating the Senior Adults. And Ramona, do you want to take the communicate with us, tell us what's going on, what we've decided, what's happening?
Well, as far as what I had personally taken on, it was working with Carley on the city proclamation for the day. And Carley has come through and we have a great proclamation for the day. And that was the extent of what I had said that I would try to push for.
And
thank you, Carley.
Yeah, go Carley. So we're all set up for October 1st. It's a Friday. We will run it like we do our usual Friday H cafes. The mayor will submit a video speech, I guess, or I don't even know.
Reading of the proclamation.
Reading of the proclamation, and we will show that at our H Cafe. And so we're ready to go. And the acknowledgement of October 1st from the UN as a day to honor our older adults is now a given in the city of Beaverton. So we're very excited about that. Yes. And now we're working on what are we going to do in 2022. So that's in progress. So any questions or comments about any additional information that I didn't include? Because I wasn't here for your last meeting, so I might have missed something. We're good? Wonderful. And I just want you to know that our next H Cafe is the 17th, so it's this Friday. And then starting in October, H Cafe will be the first Friday of every month. So we're not going to be meeting every other Friday. And just to let you know, and you can get to that meeting through Viva Village or through the library. Okay, so let's hear an update on our education speakers, forum, and liaison committee. Who would like to share with us what's on your docket and happening?
Beverly's been gathering the information, so I guess she would be.
Yeah, and actually that's in the minutes. And so what we did at our last meeting is in the minutes, so I won't take a lot of time going over that. Only to say that our meeting for today, I'm assuming that we will be breaking into subcommittees. Is that correct?
We had thought, since we had so many other things going on, we would just do a reporting today. But if you need to meet, we will carve out time for that. What do you think?
Can we meet at another time?
You can meet whenever you like. You just arrange it through Carley.
Yeah, and I will say that since we don't have our council liaison here today and we're a little ahead of schedule, Martha, that if you want, we can certainly, there's time. We've managed to have a little spare time in the agenda. So if you want to do that, then I think there's time for it. It's up to you.
Okay.
If you need,
and I'm going to defer to the members of the committee. Do you want to meet as a subcommittee today within this meeting, or would you like us to set up a separate meeting to go through our agenda that is in the minutes that was sent to you?
I'm okay with meeting today.
Okay.
So that, yeah.
How about John?
Well, I'm not sure how much I have to report on that, but sure.
Paul?
Paul had to leave early.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Suzanne?
I'm okay with meeting as long as we're through by 4:30. I have another meeting at 4:30.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. How about if we meet for a short time then today?
Okay.
And then if we need to schedule another meeting as a result of that, we will schedule it through Carley.
So Beverly, what do you need? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? What do you need?
For right now or for our subcommittee?
For your subcommittee.
I would say 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, let's say 10. So Carley, can you divide us into subcommittee meetings?
Yeah, are we ready to do that right now? And then we just need to make sure that you have time to give that little review for the recording. So we just need to make sure we reserve a couple minutes at the end before we leave to describe.
I had planned on doing that because I overlooked it. Does that work?
Yeah, let me make a couple breakout rooms right now. It'll take me just one moment.
Okay.
And you're welcome. This just take me 1 second to do that.
Absolutely.
If you want to say something else, give me a second here.
What we're going to do at the end of our meeting is we're in recruitment time, and what we're trying to do is do mini open houses on the website about what BCOA is all about. So we're going to spend 3 to 5 minutes at the end of our meeting in sharing about what is BCOA all about. So that will be on the website. So when people are looking to decide where they want to volunteer, they will get a picture of what BCOA is about and if it fits for them in terms of what they're looking for. Okay.
Great. Well, I'm ready. I'm happy I can put you in the subcommittee conversations for about 10 minutes. So I'll
we
go ahead
have
and open those.
until 4:18.
Yeah, let me go ahead and open those and then you can have a quick check-in. There you go.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'm going to pause the recording while we're in the breakout there.
Okie dokes. John, did you want to say something?
Just that I'm back.
Okay. Welcome back. So any updates that Bev, you want to share with us or
Yeah. We have some, a little bit of update here, reviewed some of the information we already had. And since Paul is not with us, I will be contacting him and completing the information on that organizations that he is in, on the organizations he is involved with. And I will be sending it out to the subcommittee. At that point, I will be asking the subcommittee if we want to schedule a meeting through you, Carley, to review all of the information and complete some items on our agenda, such as identifying organizations that we recommend for giving presentations to the full committee.
Okay. Very thorough. Love it. Perfect. Okay, and our subcommittee we're still in process of figuring out what's going to happen in 2022. We're going to wait and see what happens on October 1st to see how it's received, what the attendance is, because it's being marketed via Viva Village. And so we're putting together ideas, but we're waiting to see what's going to actually come out of those ideas.
Martha, is there a flyer specifically for the October 1st event, or is it just, would you mind passing that along? I'm not sure that I have seen that.
I don't have it, but I'll touch base with Mary Ellen and have her get that to you. There's a press release as well.
It's on the press release. Great.
Oh, because that's what she's sending out.
Okay. Well, if it's just the press release, I've got that. I just wasn't sure if there was something with a link on it for people to be able to join with the Zoom link, because the press release doesn't have that.
I will shoot a text to Mary Ellen and see what she's got going. Thank you. That's good to know. Okay, wonderful. Let's move on to Carley, who's going to give us a staff liaison report.
Well, great. Thanks, everyone. And let's see, several of the things that are on our list for the staff liaisons have been covered today. So I'll just mention a few things here. One is that you may be aware that there's a special election. There's a runoff election that ballots are due very soon. They're due on the 21st. And there was a very engaged voters forum that just happened, and you can view that even if you didn't participate, if you want to see the two candidates that are running for city council. And it will just encourage everybody to get the word out, to remind people that this is an important thing, because there's such low voter turnout during these runoff type elections and these special elections. So just want to remind everybody that that's there. And then let's see here.
That's on September 28th, is that right? Or 20?
No, 21st is the deadline.
21st, okay.
It's the deadline. And so if you want to mail your ballot, you have to mail it by the 15th. So that's by tomorrow if you're going to mail it. Sunita, did you have a question?
Yeah, that you said that forum, where can we watch it? Is it in the BCO? Where do we have the link for that?
I will include that link in my message to you all. It's at beavertonoregon.gov/voters forum. So it's on the city website.
Thank you.
Very helpful.
Yes.
So yeah, so if you'd like to hear the candidates directly, although the 2 candidates did come to the BCOA, so if you were present in that meeting, they did come and talk to the BCOA at a meeting earlier this year for those who were here.
The forum was very good, though.
Oh, good. Thanks, Bev. I'm glad you were able to participate in that. So let's see here. So the other notes, there's notes as we already, I mean, the Chair Harrington already really gave a lot of updates about COVID and sort of as you're all very aware of the uptick. So there's some notes in here around helping to mitigate the surge. I will include that to you, but I think that pretty much all of those points there have been covered in the earlier conversation. So I won't go over that one more time since you already heard it today. And then the other major piece was around the community visioning survey and trying to get that before the end of the month. And since we had Christina here to share, those were the points that I've been asked to share with you all. And I will just also note that you probably received an email about some changes to the process for boards and commissions. Things are evolving now that we're in our new form of government, and the mayor's taking a more active role in the process itself for boards and commissions. So if you should have received emails from Francisca if your term is ending, then you should know that this will be the time to reapply for anybody that's interested in doing that. And we will have several places on this board that's spaces to fill. So I'll be in touch with anybody if there's anything else, but wanted to just mention it there as something else that's going on. So I think that's my update, Martha, unless there's questions.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. One more thing is that it's welcoming week right now. And so if there's a lot of events going on for welcoming week, which we're right in the middle of. So check out the events on the city website for virtual and I think some socially distanced in-person events as well.
Yeah. So now is our time to share about what the BCOA is, so that people who are looking to choose a committee they want to volunteer for, they can go on the website, our BCOA website, and learn about us and what to expect. So I sent out an email asking you all to take a moment to put into words what the BCOA means to you and what we do here. So I invite you to share your reflections. And whoever would like to start, you got the mic.
This is John. I'll lead off here. I hadn't put anything together formally on this, but having a committee that's devoted to people that are aging is important in a community, because a lot of people don't understand that aging in place and staying active and staying in touch with other people is extremely important as you age. And so the BCOA is providing this forum for people to get together and talk with each other about mutual problems.
Wonderful, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Alexis. Oh, can't hear you, hon.
What about now?
Perfect.
Okay. So I kind of grew up in and around Beaverton, but until I was part of this committee, I really didn't have a sense of community around Beaverton, because it's so easy to just go to and from your house and just not interact with anybody and kind of live in your own personal bubble. So to be part of this committee and to have that feeling and sense of community, and specifically with the Beaverton Committee on Aging, to be able to provide some kind of platform for aging populations to be heard, or to provide some sense of safety or community for them in a time where COVID has ridiculously affected that community has been very both personally fulfilling and I think fulfilling to the community at large.
Yes, Bev.
I can add a little bit. My name's Bev, and if you're interested in advocating for the 55 plus population or learning more for yourself or family, this is the committee. This is the right place for you.
Thank you. I would like to add that the BCOA is very connected with Viva Village and the Dave's program in Hillsborough and the library, and offering times, which we call cafes, to talk about aging and talk about aging from a positive, pro-aging perspective, and about dying, because those are issues we don't often talk about. And it's offered members, intergenerational members, to come together and be together and share ideas. And we are an intergenerational group because we all live in the same community.
I can add to that is that by being a part of BCOA, I have lived in Beaverton for a very long time, but I felt by being a part of this committee, I learned so much about Beaverton and I felt connected to what was going on in Beaverton through the city liaison, meeting all the people here and knowing what's going on in the city and being an advocate for seniors and people who are aging. So I feel it's a very, very good committee to be in.
Thank you. Well, I think those sound like great reasons to join the BCOA. So thank you all for offering your wonderful feedback and perspective on what happens here. And now it's time to close our meeting. So I'd like to have a motion to close our meeting. Beverly's raised. I so move. And now we take a vote. All in favor?
You could just, yeah, you can have to take a vote for it.
Oh, good. Thank you.
You're good.
Got all the protocols. I'm at triage. I want to thank you all for a wonderful meeting, for opening up your ears, your hearts, and your minds to listen to all the great speakers we had today. And know that, change takes time. And all the needs and all the changes and uncertainties we're living with right now, there is movement afoot. And just because we can't see it, it's really nice to hear about it from the key people in the community. So enjoy this beautiful weather. Rain on Friday, I hear, and quite a lot of it. So get that outdoor time and have a wonderful rest of your week. And again, thank you for everything. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.